Hi everyone, welcome officially to Streams of Collective Consciousness. I'm super excited to be on a Tuesday. It is Tuesday, May 6th, and it is Streams of Collective Consciousness. Today there is a lot of stuff happening in midst of recapping Met Gala. There is the Amazon blackout. There is Temu and their conversations and strategies around tariffs. And then we also have a lot of conversations about Shein and its IPO status, and also a lot of sustainable fashion improvements and initiatives happening. But I will mostly be talking about the Met Gala in the beginning. So yeah, super excited to get into it. It may be a short live because I am having improving, keep moving forward. Let's see. Da-di-da-di-ya. Okay, so it seems like my internet is wacky today for some reason. Wow. I'm gonna use my cellular plan. What is my internet doing? Honestly, my internet has gotten so bad. I may just buy internet that is not being currently used at my house. I don't know why the internet is so unstable. It's honestly my internet because I am doing everything I can. Lolly, lolly, law, lolly, lolly, law. Ba. Okay, so my live stream apparently wanted to start off with a Wi-Fi issue. I tried connecting with my hotspot and that didn't work. Don't know what's happening with my cell phone plan, but one day we will have good internet and I will be unstoppable. But to move on, just know that whenever I start my live stream, there's going to be 5 minutes of difficulty. Just come in around 4:10 and I probably will fix the freaking issue by then. But every single time I'm gonna start the live stream, I always get Wi-Fi issues. I started off with like perfect streaming health and then it just like went downhill. So I don't know what's going on, but I'm not gonna break that down into something negative. I'm just gonna keep going on. But welcome to Streams of Collective Consciousness. If you're skipping forward, if you're watching the recorded version, hello. Thank you for skipping forward. If you're watching live, hi, thank you so much for coming back on if you were experiencing the glitches. But today we'll be getting into the Met Gala fashion, and we're going to be getting into a whole bunch of other stuff. If you don't know me, I'm Elle, and I live stream Tuesdays, and now Fridays. I'll be live streaming Fridays from like 9 in the morning to like 12. Hopefully the internet is better in the morning. I have no idea what's happening with the internet. I'm someone that likes to think I'm a bit techie, but like I like set everything up perfectly and it doesn't work. So I don't know. It's out of my control. Maybe I need a different plan. Maybe I'm just in the basement. Who freaking knows? I don't really care. But I just want things to work. So we're going to continue on. And yeah, I'm excited to get into it. There's a bunch of stuff around sustainable fashion, environmentalism, and social justice. Here is the Canva deck if you want to look out of that. I use this every time I live stream. It's very convenient. I compile all the news on here and I have it in my description. So it's a public thing. It's a free thing. It's a free resource. So description in the link if you don't want to listen to my 2.5 glitchy live stream. Also, I just do this for fun. So I'm not going to get too bothered about not being perfect today. But here is the structure. So I start off at 4 p.m. and then I get into like sustainable fashion first, and then socialism stuff and social justice stuff, environmentalism stuff, and then end off with like more fashion related stuff. I'm forgetting to like end off with fashion shows, but you know, I try. But those are the things that get me copyright striked for some reason. I don't know why fashion shows are so copyright, inclinated. I don't know. What is it? The music? Is it the? I don't even know why fashion shows get copyrighted. And then we're going to be gaming soon. I'm going to be gaming soon. I want to start gaming around the end of May. I'm holding off for a gaming PC. Hopefully that helps with like the Wi-Fi and like with the setups. I'm also going to be using a GoPro as a webcam soon. And I know I keep promising I'll be multi-streaming, but I just started working a job, and that is going to take a bit of time away from live streaming, but slow and steady wins the race here. I'm not in a rush to like improve everything overnight. But yeah, this is basically the flow of the live streams, very structured. I'm not this like open-ended live streamer that just kind of talks about nothing or like rambles on and just you never really know where you're gonna tune into. Like I'm a very like rigid live streamer, you can say. But yeah, that's just how I function. I'm very like a type A person. And I just kind of like sticking to a schedule. So if you want to tune in later on for like more social justice-y stuff, that's going to be happening at 5 p.m. But if you ever want me to talk about something, community submission form is here, and I'll talk about it on Friday. I'm not a reactor. I don't like doing things super fast. So I like to plan things out, and this will help me plan out things. So like, let's say there's like a fashion show you want me to talk about. There is something, just put it here and I'll take a look at it. Okay, so it seems like my audio works really well. So even if I'm glitching out, you can hear me, which is great. So if you're listening, thank you so much. My voice is always a bit monotone. That's like the biggest thing about live streaming. I get to hear my own voice. I'm like, dang, I sound boring. But you know, it's fine. You guys are not here for the voice. You're here for the sustainable fashion news that we're going to get into. But before we get into that, I always talk about personal news just because I feel like these ideas or these concepts kind of get lost in logic, in concepts. And I come from a very deeply personal space of like wanting to talk about these things, and I give my biases, I give my opinions, I give my feelings. And I think it's just worthy to have you know who I am, where I'm coming from, what my background is. But yeah, I'm Ellie, and I use she, her pronouns if that helps for anything. I don't know if that matters to anyone. But yeah, I do ethical fashion YouTube videos, and I do sustainable fashion live streams just because I want a place to like talk about these things. I feel like professionalism is such a huge thing in the fashion industry, even though fashion is literally killing the planet and making people suffer because we're exploiting garment workers all over the place. And then in sustainable fashion spaces, it's like all corporate speech and like it's all censored. And we're never really saying, oh my God, I hated this shit. Or like, oh my God, like this shit is messed up, you know? It feels like we're all pretending that we're not as angry and we're not, I don't know, being tortured alive with what's happening with the fashion industry, with the environment, all these things. So I never had a genuine space or a genuine person be like, yeah, this shit is fucked. Like this shit is messed up in the fashion industry. This stuff is messed up in the environmental spaces or in the social justice spaces. So I'm not here to be professional. I'm just a person. I'm not an expert. I'm not going to pretend I know all the answers. I mostly react. That's what live streaming is. I want this place to be somewhere that you can be yourself, where you can share your thoughts, where you can like vent as well. Like I want this to be a community, and I'm just like yelling at a computer basically. So I mean, I'm not getting paid for this, so I'm just gonna do what I think is right, and hopefully you resonate and learn from some of the things that I yell about to my computer. But yeah, I'm like I've been involved and interested in sustainable fashion, environmentalism, social justice for a long time, and there's just always a lot happening, and I really, really just want to know what the news is, and I want other people to know what the news are. I don't see a lot of news outlets talk about sustainable fashion or even the fashion industry in general. So I think I'm covering something that no one else is doing, and hopefully I can personify it a bit. I can make it personal, humanize news that may feel overwhelming, and you can like pop in whenever. You know, that's like the amazing thing about live streams. You can be in the living room cooking, and you can just be hearing me like go on a million tangents, and it's fine. Like that's what I'm here to do. So I don't really care if you're not really listening to me. Like no one really has to pay 100% attention to me to like get the points. And like the Canva deck, it will always be in my description. The news will always be there. So hopefully I'm fun to listen to. I was actually started working at a thrift store. Oh my god, my bag is falling in my room. Dang. Okay, that was kind of creepy. What was I saying? Oh, I started working at a thrift store today. I'm going to be working there 25 hours a week. Wait, I'm like listening to the live stream and I heard the bag fall in real time. That was weird. Okay. So, okay, personal updates before we get into news. I actually started working at a thrift. Sorry, my brain is everywhere. I started working at a thrift store today. I'm going to be working about 25 plus hours at this thrift store that's like 10 minutes away from my house. And it's like the last thrift store I haven't worked in my home city. I've worked at every other one. I've worked at 4 other local thrift stores, and this one was like the last one. It's almost like collecting Pokemon cards in a way. Like you want to collect them all. And I did this with thrift stores. Like I've now officially worked at every single thrift store in my home city, and it's a relatively big home city in Illinois. And let me tell you, there is a lot of low income frontline people coming in. There's a lot of homeless people within the area as well. There's a hotel directly behind the thrift store, and that hotel houses the homeless. It's rooms paid by a local charity and by the government as well. They have different programs, and so a lot of like very low income people and houseless people come in to shop and find deals, and so they kind of like know the ropes of like who's new and like what's going on in the store, and they're just kind of roaming around. And unfortunately, a lot of like houseless people or like homeless people, however you want to call them, are suffering from mental illness. And so I saw like this lady have a full winter coat, and it's like 75 degrees out, so it's hot to be wearing a coat. But she was going on and on about wanting to buy a stroller, didn't know how to count her money. I don't know if she just had a lot going on in her head or was a foreigner, because she had a bit of an accent. So I was like, what is happening? But I recognized that she wasn't completely there because of her winter coat and it's hot outside. There's like signs. And she like ended up buying this like Mickey Mouse stroller for some reason. And I was like, I don't know, why she would need a stroller if she's, you know, like you can just tell that something's wrong. So I don't know what her reasoning was for the stroller. She wasn't really carrying anything else with her. So I can't judge people really. I don't know their stories. I don't know what's happening, but the training today was basically saying like they're going to try to scam you. They're going to try to scam you because they want a deal and they know that you're new. I was like, okay, fair warning. People always want a deal. Don't we all just want a deal? Isn't that why Shein and Temu are like so good right now? Like they're doing so well because they give the best deal in the fashion industry. Like they're the cheapest thing possible. And so, I mean, I don't blame anyone for wanting a deal, but like they're making out like the homeless, especially, as like the evil ones of the story, or like the evil ones in the neighborhood. I'm like, I guess I'll just try not to be scammed today. But there's like this middle ground I have to stand on of like how nice am I? Like how smart should I be in midst of these people? Like I like recognize when people want to scam me, but I recognize I need to be nice because they're having mental health issues. So like I don't know like how mean, how nice, how smart, how dumb I should be, but I it's just a very difficult position. Like being in a thrift store as a frontline Latina myself and like serving my community and like seeing the legit suffering and like pain that people go to survive. It's a harsh reality. It's a very harsh reality that's not for the weak. And that's why I really love my own perspective. I know that sounds egotistical, but within sustainable fashion spaces or environmental spaces or social justice spaces, we often have very privileged white people be on the table. And when I live stream or when I do YouTube videos or when I take on any initiative, any leadership role, my role is needed more so than ever before because I know what it's like to survive. I know what it's like to see other people suffer from systemic failures. These people are working at Amazon. These people are working night shifts. These people are surviving off of maybe like $15,000 or less annually. And they have children and they have bills to pay. So I'm really grateful for this thrift store job, even though I'm exposed to like mental illness, even though I'm exposed to homeless people, even though I'm exposed to quote unquote scammers, even though I'm exposed to like quote unquote the most evil people on this earth because they don't come from resources. I'm exposed to migrants trying to survive. Like I'm grateful because I am directly seeing the reality of systemic failures. I am seeing how people suffer because of Trump's racism and evil shit. Like I don't know where Trump is coming from most of the times, and then I remember I don't think he's ever faced real struggle. So in a way, like struggle humbles me and grounds me and makes me grateful for what I do and for how much I push myself. Like I had a coworker that was like, "Don't be so perfectionist. Don't be so tense." I'm like, my survival depends on perfectionism and being like very focused and tense a lot of times. Like I can relax, but it's really hard to survive and being in frontline communities. It's really, really difficult to make it when there's so many systemic issues and racism and just setbacks that you know Mexicans, African Americans, and like marginalized communities face. So, but yeah, they're only paying me. Okay, my camera is glitching for some reason, but you can hear me. I just see myself glitching, and that's like bothering me. I will have the GoPro next live stream on Friday in the morning, by the way. But just to wrap up my personal tangent, I've been going on for 20 minutes. Jesus Christ. I'm just really grateful that I have this thrift store job, no matter how difficult it may seem. I'm just being paid minimum wage, $15 an hour. Not a lot. And I have 2 degrees. I have a degree in business and I have a degree in fashion. But I'm happy to be in this job. Like I said, I'm collecting my thrift store cards, and hopefully these are all learning lessons for my own thrift store in the future. Whenever that happens, the American dream is not really benefiting frontline low-income Latinas. But we'll get there one step at a time. But yeah, let's get into the news. I am glitching so much today. Okay. I am glitching so much. I'm so sorry. Okay, let me see. Glitching out for reals. Wait, let me see if I can fix this. Hello, hello. Hello. Okay, so it seems like I'm working again. Is it working? I'm still glitching. No, it's not working. I don't know why it's not working. So the internet automatically just like crashes. It says I'm offline for no reason. I don't know what's happening with my internet. Okay. It's been happening for the past couple of weeks, but you can hear me and then it just kind of glitches out. I'm so sorry if you're like tuning in for the first time. I do want to talk about the Met Gala, but I am low income and I'm working out of my basement for some reason. It's just lagging so much. I may just end it soon. Yeah, I don't know how to fix it. My cell phone plan is not connecting to YouTube either. Allow more data on. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. So maybe this is just going to end up being a very chill live stream because I'm trying to figure out what the heck is happening to my internet. Do I need to get another internet for myself? Do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Okay. AT&T connection to everything. I think I'm gonna do this after the live stream and get a new like AT&T sort of like wireless network for the basement. Figure out their prices because I will not be able to live stream without it. That's honestly what it is. It's just the internet. My Wi-Fi is very unstable down in the basement of the house. So I think that's just what I'm gonna have to do. No matter what I try, like nothing is connecting. It's just a very bad spot. Like it's a dead zone basically. And I'm just like grabbing the little pieces of it, but it just doesn't hold on for that much. And the stream says it's healthy, so it's honestly just the Wi-Fi that's lagging. Because the Wi-Fi at one point just said offline. Wi-Fi is offline now, for no reason. So it's the Wi-Fi that's the problem. Everything else is set up well. So for the next stream, I will figure out more of a better like a Wi-Fi AT&T setup, and I will figure out the GoPro and then multi-streaming. But so sorry for the lag. I know some people have been coming in and out. I've only been live streaming for 3 months, to be honest, and I still don't really know what I'm doing. So now I just realized I have just terrible Wi-Fi. That I was blaming it on my setup, but it's not the setup. It's the Wi-Fi. It's very unstable down here. But yeah, it's working now. I'm just gonna stop complaining about it. I'm like actually gonna get into the topic of the live stream while the Wi-Fi lasts. But today I'm going to be talking about the Met Gala. There is a lot of conversations about whether people liked this Met Gala, but I think the Met Gala is entrenched in elitism. Like, you literally have to be invited to these galas by Anna Wintour herself. And if you don't get invited, then it's like, what did I do wrong? And am I not part of this clique of like superstars or whatever? And it's just very weird how you have to pay like $75,000 to pay to enter and be part of it, but the money does go into like good efforts or good conservation. I saw my friend shared on Instagram that it went towards like the conservation of archival costumes, something like that. But I will Google it. I always use Okezia. I don't know how to say that. Let me see. If you guys are still watching after all those glitches, you guys are like so cool. I would have been like, this girl sucks with all my glitches. But it says that $31 million were raised at the fashion's favorite night. $31 million? What the heck? That's crazy. Dang. Garnered a place for itself in history as the highest grossing edition of the event and a tireless legacy of 77 years. Dang. Okay, so the theme this year was super fine tailoring black style. I'm sure you guys have all seen this, and everyone had like their different take on it. And it was inspired by Monica L. Meyler's book, Slave to Fashion, Black Dandyism, and the Styling of Black Diasporic. Cannot say that word, diasporic. Diasporic. There you go, identity. So, let's see. I actually saw this news article over here about how this young man was the face of Met Gala and he's still working like a 9 to 5, which is a very interesting juxtaposition to everything. This article is by the Griot and it says, behind the grits and the glam of the Met Gala are real people working everyday jobs. Most recently, model Christian Lachman, whose face many may have seen in discussions about the Met Gala, went viral on TikTok for sharing a behind-the-scenes glimpse of the realities of modeling the Met Gala. Says, literally the face of Met Gala this year, but still got to clock into my 9 to 5. I actually did see this TikTok. Have you guys seen this TikTok? I saw it a while ago, and I was like, bro, what is happening? Hey, let's watch it again. I wonder what his job is. Super fine. See, that's very unfortunate, but it's like it showcases like the issues in the fashion industry, and I think that Met Gala can do a lot of good. The money will go into like preservation. I feel like I think that's what I was remembering. I'm jumping between articles. My ADHD today is doing not so good, guys. Don't judge me today. But this says, okay, the gala acts as a primary fundraiser for the museum's Costume Institute and has acquired huge sums in the previous years as well. Okay. I love when these articles just explain a whole bunch of nothing. Maybe there's a YouTube video explaining how the fundraising works before we get into the costumes. Also, guys, disclaimer, I don't like judging people for what they wore. Even if there was a theme, even if there was like a lot of elitism, I'm not someone to be like, oh my God, I love the red part of the dress, or I love the look. Like, I just don't. I don't really care to judge people or like compliment people. I generally don't care to talk about people's style, if that makes sense. It's a waste of time for me personally. So you're really not going to see me analyze styles. I more so am focused on like the story of the clothing. I'm focused on the intention, the logic, and just how it contributes towards addressing the issues in the fashion industry. I know that's a very like intellectual, like very logical point on fashion, but you're not really going to see me being like, oh my God, I love this dress, or I love this. That's just not who I am. I'm not fashion police. I'm not a fashion hype person. Like, if you dress the most beautiful and you have the most beautiful style, I'm probably not going to talk about it. I'm sorry. I'm really not going to talk about it. The only style I really talk about is myself, because I feel like that's the only appropriate place or like appropriate time to judge fashion, if that makes sense. Like, I will critique myself. I will judge myself. I will compliment myself. I'm not going to do it to anyone else. Like, I'm not going to perceive anyone. I'm not going to dog anyone. I'm not going to like flower some person up just because I liked how they look or what they wore. Like, that's just, I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making sense. I don't want to be mean. It's just, I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to perceive. I hate that. Like, if I don't know you, I'm kind of looking at this art piece and I'm like, that's cute. Like, that's just, it's a superficial thing to judge people on their style. I don't know if that's making sense. But let's look into this and how the Met Gala went towards fundraising for like the costume world, the fashion world. I also, just to disclaimer it, I have never felt like a typical fashion lover. Like, I don't like talking about fashion, fashion vibes, or like, I don't know how to explain this, but like, I'm not someone to be in the gossipy area of fashion, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want to be mean, but within the fashion world, there's a lot of gossip, there's a lot of opinions, there's a lot of emotions. But for me, it's like, what does this all mean at the end of the day? Like, the fundraising, the intention, like the broader perspective here. Like, I don't care for analyzing someone's costume. I'm gonna leave it at that, but I don't delve into gossip around fashion. I don't know how else to explain it.
The hottest tickets of the year. Major celebrities from movies, music, sports, and more hit the iconic stairway at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. The dress code was called Tailored for You. It's inspired by the museum's spring exhibit, which is the first ever to focus exclusively on Black designers. And I had a front row seat to all the flashiest looks and the hottest takes of the night. Ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough to keep me from you. At one of the most exclusive parties of the year, the biggest stars helped put on a show where the outfits in the room matched the energy of the night.
As George C. Wolfe would say, God created Black people, and Black people created style.
Ooh! In the best possible way, let us say it is about time.
Finish the sentence. Black style is
everything.
Ooh. Run by Vogue's Anna Wintour since 1995, the Met Gala serves as a fundraiser for the museum's Costume Institute, which debuts a new spring exhibition each year. The Met describes 2025's focus as Black style from the 18th century to present, through an exploration of the concept of dandyism.
If you look at the history of the exhibition and how it starts when Black men were enslaved and what achieving their freedom meant to them and how they presented themselves to the world when they were free men was a gesture of self-respect.
Black dandyism is, in part, a celebration of both aesthetic and resistance.
which used clothing as a way to move beyond race and class.
I'm a Chicago kid.
Okay.
I've been watching Dannyism my entire life.
Facts.
You feel me? And so just to be here, I know my uncles are proud. I know my dad is proud because I've seen them get dressed many nights and looking like we look right now.
You can't just have the look without the sound.
Can't have the look without the sound.
Yeah.
What's the sound? Serena. Serenade Serena.
Yes, Serena.
Come on.
To help plan the night, Wintour named
Screen capture. What is happening? Uh-oh. I just stopped capturing the thing.
Special shout out to Jeremy who got me that. But the red
Shout
carpet
out to
was
your
different.
designer, though,
Yes.
Gail.
He's here this morning.
Is he?
Brought the dress this morning too. That's called a tease.
Okay.
But everybody, you know, when they say they showed up and showed out, people took that assignment. There's a dress that looks so good in the light.
Looks great.
Very nice.
You look good in it. It came together well,
Right.
Gail.
You look good in it.
We were talking about it on Friday.
He was working at.
Okay, so that was a bit of context. I was looking up a bit of the news of like where the money is going towards while that was playing. So I read here in this article, New York Times says that the Met Annual Fashion Party has become a fundraising juggernaut, but the lavish event has come with its price tag of its own. Says it raised $31 million. We covered that. And apparently it was an opportunity to create an environment of celebration, of support, and meaning. And it says that it's the Met's first fashion exhibition devoted entirely to designers of color and is being seen as part of a larger effort to diversify the collection. It's also a rarity for it to focus on menswear. So it drew an array of Black celebrities to help host the event. Interesting. I honestly want to support this and its efforts for like pushing forward Black designers and Black celebrities and influential, Black people. It's just I'm always hesitant with Met Gala, especially because it thrives on elitism and it thrives on influencer culture and this like mainstream idea of like popularity and celebrity and relevance. So in the back of my head, I'm like, does this really matter to anyone or anything? But it says the event's proceeds will fill the coffers of the Costume Institute, which is dependent on it for its operating costs. It is the only such a department that raises its own budget, but the gala, typically held on the first Monday in May, also carries a cultural cachet far beyond a mere benefit, like into the Super Bowl of fashion or the Oscars of the East Coast. It's gone beyond what a fundraising event usually is. Says Rachel Fenberg, a consultant who has worked on galas in New York City, noting its endorsements and celebrity buy-in as well as sheer spectacle. It's not necessarily the cause that everyone's coming for, it's to be part of the event. Yeah. I was listening to a podcast. It's a very interesting podcast, and it's by two sustainable fashion content creators that touched on this very topic. It's called Sustainability. Let me see if I can find it. But they were talking about how the Met Gala is almost like likened to the Hunger Games. It's very frivolous. It's very much just for the looks, I feel like. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, Spill the Sustainability podcast. And they kind of touch on it on their latest episode. Let me play a tidbit.
Welcome to Spill the Sustainability,
the podcast where we spill the tea on the hottest
and most controversial topics in the industry over a cup of tea. Who are excited to see the sustainability of it all.
The themes.
First,
what are your first thoughts about the Met Gala, just like off the top of your head?
I used to love it when I was a teenager.
Okay.
And I'd be very excited, like, to see all the outfits. And I still really like it because I love seeing all the outfits and the fashion. But I'm starting to find it slightly more boring.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe last year I was saying to you earlier, I didn't even remember what the theme was, already any outfits from last year.
That says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. But I think it is.
You should definitely subscribe to them. They're really great. These conversations are highly personal about what's happening in the sustainable fashion world. They continue on to describe it as like the Hunger Games capital parties. I don't know if you guys have watched the Hunger Games, but it's very much like that. I do resonate. And they touch on that in this podcast. I'm not going to listen to the whole thing, obviously, but it's a very interpersonal conversations about how these events are really weird. They're just so weird.
A bit of Egyptian cotton. Yeah. Like, I have more respect for those sorts of things, but I suppose maybe that's what they want. They want those pieces to be preserved as though they were mummified Egyptian cotton.
And I guess maybe in 100 years, like, I mean, I would absolutely give my left arm to go and look through, like, I don't know, a Dior archive.
Yeah.
Like, it would be incredible.
Yeah, that is true.
And I guess that wouldn't exist if things like this didn't happen.
But it's just extreme, isn't it?
Yeah.
But there was something that they were saying, that Lauren Zendaya was saying, is that a lot of stylists, they sort of like get loaned pieces, but they actually buy a lot of the archive pieces because they want to support the small businesses that are like the archival shops. I don't know what they're called.
I also love because they're building a collection, which I think is really cool.
But I mean, it's also a business move, right? Because then he can loan it out to other people.
Well, I don't know if a lot of it probably gets loaned out. I imagine, like, what in my mind will happen is, like, one day they'll both die. Oh my God. And then
they're essentially talking about archival fashion because the Met Gala is supposedly supposed to like conserve, archival fashion and support the costuming world. But it's just these events just rub me the wrong way. It's just so frivolous and midst of so much suffering and so much injustices. And I know there's a time and place for everything, but to like have this event become like just for the style, just for like the look itself, and not for any deeper meaning or for any like further context or thought about the fashion industry, just kind of like rubs me the wrong way. There's a lot of like watch parties like yesterday on the Met Gala, and I just noticed that everyone was just so hyper fixated on the outfits, and it kind of made me feel sick in the stomach that we're so focused on individual people and what they're wearing versus the systemic failures in the fashion industry. And we're not having the systemic conversations. We're having more so like, oh, let me pick apart this style or this outfit based on the theme. But like in the big picture, like African Americans need more of a place in society, point blank. They need more power, more leaders in here. And it's such a shame that we focus on the individuals and what they're wearing. But I mean, I saw Sustainable Baddie. This is another account that I follow a lot. It's run by like a sustainable fashion influencer, and she compiled together vintage and sustainable moments at the Met Gala. So there can be some good from these moments. Like, for example, Tessa was able to wear per ball. They don't specify why it was sustainable or how it's sustainable. I think it's archival fashion. And then Chance the Rapper was in vintage Versace. Stella McCartney and Mary J. Blige were in Stella McCartney. She's known to be a sustainable fashion designer. Amy was in a certain brand. I think that's a sustainable fashion brand. I don't know how to pronounce that brand. Shakira was in Prabal. I think that's how you say it. I don't really know if he's a sustainable fashion designer. I have no idea. But he was like not getting out of her way. I was watching the live stream and he was just like all up on her. I was like, man, get out of her way. It was kind of pissing me off, but there's like bigger problems to worry about. Laura was in Gap Studio, raw natural denim. I don't know what that means, but okay. And then Coco was in Manish Malhotra. Again, I'm assuming that's like a sustainable fashion brand. And then Gabby was in another apparently sustainable fashion brand. The caption doesn't specify. I didn't really do my research, but I mean, these celebrities can wear sustainable fashion. They can wear archival. They can make those choices, but they also are working with a team. They're working with stylists, and they're trying to fit in to the theme of the fundraiser and also into society. So it's very interesting how we're like hyper fixated on the look, but we're not like, okay, like what does the glasses mean, or like why did he wear those stars? Like, I just want to know the logic. And I feel like that's what has always set me apart. It's more so like the reasoning versus the emotions that I find in clothing is important to me. But I know that clothing can make you happy, it can make you sad, it can make you feel comfortable, it can make you feel part of something. Clearly, like fashion here is to make you feel part of the Met Gala. It's just like we don't really ask in conversations or in like interviews, hey, Chance the Rapper, what was your logic for this? It's just like, instead people are like, what are you wearing and who are you wearing, which is now a conversation about the brand and about your network or your associations with certain people, and it doesn't really touch on anything else. So the interviewers could change their questions. We could start asking different questions, and hopefully that creates the difference in the fashion industry. It's just I often see like, okay, what pieces are you wearing, or how do you feel on the clothing, or you look beautiful? Like, those are very like small talk questions. So my point is like we have to ask deeper questions no matter what the context is, because the Met Gala is touching on real things that we're kind of brushing the surface on. Like, we need more social justice for African Americans. We need more representation. We need their liberation to happen. And we also need collective liberation. We need every single person to be part of the struggle for a better future. So yeah, that's my little bit on the Met Gala. So yeah, I do come from a different perspective in this, the 9 to 5 just shows and illuminates the struggle that African Americans and marginalized communities go through. Like, yeah, he may have gotten this huge contract. He may be like the face of like ultra elite luxurious fundraiser event, but he's still facing reality. He's in his 9 to 5 job. And even if you're accepted by like Anna Wintour, the leader of the hierarchy in fashion, does not mean that you're going to escape the suffering of capitalism. It doesn't mean that you're exempt from all these other harsh truths in the world. So hopefully he gets more contracts. Hopefully he finds a bit more success going forward. He has more stable contracts. But it's like notorious for models to suffer from these very sketchy contracts. There's laws that are helping them secure better contracts and more secure worker rights, but this is just a fine example that models are often seen as like a one-timer thing, like a contracted job for their brand or for their marketing, and then are just like left to the road to like suffer and deal with everything else. on their own. Like, they're not human beings. So yeah, they're still working a job. It's just, it's not treated as a job. So he's forced to have a 9 to 5 instead of being a full-time model with stable work hours and stable wages. So yeah, that's my only opinion about the Met Gala, but I would never want to be part of this. There was a lot of conversations about like which influencers should be attending and who gets to go and stuff, but like one of the influencers I watch, his name is Kai Sanat, and I highly respect him. He's a Twitch streamer, and he actually rejected going to the Met Gala because he wasn't in support of the sponsor he was invited with. Let me see what I can find. Kai Sanat refuses to go to the Met Gala. But some people turn down these invitations. It's not like everyone's dying to go, so where did I see the clip?
I had an opportunity to go to the Met Gala, chat, but I didn't go because I'm not gonna lie, the brand that wanted to host me, I didn't really like. Because the brand that wanted to host me, I didn't really like, didn't want to do that brand. You feel me? And I don't know. I think you don't gotta always say yes to everything. I had an opportunity to go to the Met Gala, chat, but
honestly, I'm not saying I'm ever going to be big or ever going to be on like Kai's level whatsoever, but on a personal moral basis, if I was ever invited, I would say no. Just out of the elitism and the classism and the exclusivity that this is based off of, I would not go. I would not support this. And I'm only talking about the Met Gala because I want to showcase the irony of like all these things. Like, yeah, okay, it's good. It's good that the fundraiser is going towards like costuming and travel work and give space to support an independently like funded thing. But at the same time, like it thrives off of like, oh, only certain people get invited. Only certain people get to be on the carpet. It's just, it gives high school vibes, and then everyone is just so hyper fixated that this is like the fashion moment or the fashion event. It's just, it gives high school, and I just really don't appreciate it. And it doesn't really help the fashion industry as a whole. Like in the broad picture, the Met Gala is not going to fix the array of issues in the fashion industry. It's not going to do that. It's just part of the capitalism's game towards frivolous parties. Like, I don't know. I don't want to be pessimistic. It's just, I'm not a fan. I'm just not a fan. And if you're a fan, that's okay. You can love fashion. You can love the event. I'm just not a fan. I don't like frivolous parties. But it does fundraise for apparently good stuff. So, but I'm just gonna move on. I'm not gonna spend hours watching people dress up and showcase their sparkles. So one of the important things that is happening this week is Amazon is having a blackout from May 6th to the 12th, and it's being hosted by the People's Union USA. I saw this on social media and I do want to talk about it. There is a lot happening with Amazon, especially when they back down from Donald Trump for putting a clear section in the shopping section of the checkout that they were going to charge extra for the tariffs. I'm a bit distracted, right? Okay, so let's go to this. So Amazon boycott 2025, it says, the e-commerce giant Amazon faces yet another boycott of its services and stores starting from Tuesday, May 6th. Organized by the People Union, the second boycott of the largest online retailer around the world is against rolling back of diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, as well as Donald Trump's led administration plans to get rid of federal DEI program since taking charge in January this year. Also, like I was saying before, I didn't really explain this right. I was distracted, but Amazon did try to clarify to shoppers when they're checking out, like, you'll be charged more because of the tariffs, but then Trump was like, what are you doing? And like pressured Amazon to not show how much extra costs will be charged on the customers because of the tariffs. So maybe we will be charged more, but we won't know how much is specifically coming from the tariffs because Trump was like, Amazon, what are you doing? But boycott Amazon, what to know. So the second boycott is happening from May 6th until May 12th. Comes after the grassroots group that had actually planned a day-long economic consumer blackout on February 28th this year. As part of the boycott, the group has urged consumers to avoid Amazon and its affiliates in the country, which include Amazon Prime Video, Amazon Fresh, as well as services like Twitch, Zappos, Kindle, and Audible. And it says, over the past couple of months, the People's Union has organized multiple weekly boycotts across different business and retailers in the U.S., such as General Mills and Walmart. In April this year, the union held an economic blackout against U.S. corporations, alleging that they failed to pay enough taxes. The union founder John gained significant spotlight when his maiden video, what is maiden video talking about? Calling for a day-long consumer blackout on February 28th. Honestly, just to pause, what the heck is this journalism? How am I supposed to know what maiden video is? Do y'all know what maiden video is? I feel so dumb sometimes. When his maiden video calling for a day-long consumer blackout on February 28th went viral on social media, he has remained active on Instagram and regularly posts short clips outlining other boycott calls.
To those who stand in solidarity, starting May 6th through May 12th, we launch our second Amazon blackout. And this one means more than ever before. Listen, Jeff Bezos just said that he would start listing tariff costs next to the item prices on Amazon so customers could see what they're really paying. And that's okay. That was a little transparency, a little truth. But the White House called it hostile. The president himself made a call, and just like that, Bezos crumbled. He backed down, he bent the knee. And this is what we're up against. A billionaire who doesn't pay his fair share in taxes, a billionaire who manipulates the markets, silences sellers, and flaunts his obscene wealth while Americans struggle to stay afloat. This isn't about individual sellers or warehouse workers. This is for every single person in this country. It's about standing up to the corporations that prop up corrupt power and then hide behind it. So from May 6th through May 12th, we black out Bezos. No orders, no browsing, no business. 1 week of silence, but a message he won't forget. Because when corporations become more powerful than the people must become louder than the corporations. And this is how it begins, with unity, with strategy, solidarity, with us. Please visit the People's Union USA. We are the resistance, my friends, and we are the economy. Please share. Thank you.
The People's Union USA. Together we build a better future. I haven't heard of them. Is my audio fine? My mic keeps moving out of space. Give me a second. I like how I said my mic keeps moving out of space when I meant place. My brain is definitely neurodivergent. What the heck? Okay. But yeah, I haven't heard of the People's Union USA. But here is the Amazon blackout May 6th to the 12th. So targeting Amazon, Whole Foods Market, Amazon Fresh, Amazon Prime Video, Audible, Twitch, Ring, and Zappos. Hold the line, they say. So Amazon Basics, Kindle, Kindle eBooks, Amazon Music, and Goodreads. and also IMDb. Interesting. They have local chapters. They have a USA headquarters. They have a Oregon chapter. And then that's pretty much it for now. But yeah, that's where that's coming from. I also find it interesting. It's a boycott Bezos campaign, even though it's like an Amazon boycott. So it's like a 2-in-1. He clearly does not like Bezos, and he does not want to support Amazon because of it. I mean, I don't really buy from Amazon in the first place, so I'm already kind of part of the boycott, and it's starting today until the 12th. But if there is like no other option for you and you can only order on Amazon, like I think it's fine to order from Amazon. It's just if you're privileged enough or have time or capacity to do this boycott, then I highly recommend it. They say don't buy anything from Amazon, no streaming, no Kindle, no IMDb, no Zappos, no Goodreads, no Audible. You get the idea. But if you need any of these resources, I mean, compromise where you can and do what you can. I always say, like, it's better to do something than nothing at all, even if it's imperfectly. And yeah, it says that many protests are being rapidly scheduled for mid-May on the weekend, and that will be posted soon. And there's also going to be a big protest in June in Washington, D.C., and then there's going to be a mass protest June 6th in Washington, D.C., and it's an association with a lot of different organizations. Oh, and then they say, oh, okay, I like this. It says non-white people have no obligation to participate in any of this. If they choose to get involved, we are grateful for their time and risky if they choose to take action in these protests. If they choose not to participate and want to criticize us about anything, they have every right to do so. Please refrain from commenting on this. If you're white, you can DM me if you want to have a discussion about it. Interesting. I've never seen that before. I like the thoughtfulness because it is risky to participate in protests. I, for one, to get on a personal note, I used to be an environmental justice activist, and I was one of the main leaders for like the Latino constituency efforts. And they would always reach out to say, hey, do you want to go to the strike in Chicago, or do you want to lead this protest, or want to be the face of something? And I was like, no. And I think it cost me an opportunity to have a job there because I was not seen as a risk taker. But just being involved in environmental justice was a risk for me because those spaces are just not conducive to like my type of people. Like, I'm often having to mask my identity. I have to like conform to other white people within environmental justice spaces. So being in those spaces was just like tough in itself. And so when they were like, oh, do you want to do this or do you want to do that, be the leader, I was like, no, I don't want to be that. And so I feel like they hesitated to trust me and like see me as a true leader because of it. But one personal story, I'm not going to name any names, but I was part of an environmental justice organization, and we went to Washington to protest some things, and I was part of the Chicago chapter, and we were also known to be like the main Latino chapter. And then a strategy came out that we were going to be like second in line to be arrested if the protest went wrong and police escalated, and there was like a whole strategy of like what direction police was going to come from. And I just got so pissed because Latinos are already struggling. They're struggling to survive. They're struggling against all these biases, all these stigmas, against all this oppression. And then to hear that we were going to be one of the first people to be in the line of fire of police was actually really discouraging, and it made me afraid for my other peers. Like, I have the privilege of having documentation. I have a social security card. I guess I had some money if I was arrested, but let's say you're undocumented, you're poor, don't know your legal rights, and you're arrested. It's game over. It's game over. And also police target those that are not white looking. Like, they target the darkest skin because of racism, because of bigotry, because of all these other things and assumptions about African Americans, Mexicans, about marginalized communities. all these assumptions just lead to more violence and discrimination. And I just wasn't in agreement that I had to be part of these things. Like, I didn't want to be part of these things because it comes with so much personal risk and like collective risk. I also didn't have the resources. I didn't have the money for a lawyer. I didn't have money to bail myself out of jail if I got arrested. I didn't have really a lot of connections either, because I feel like a lot of people excluded me from leadership because I kept saying no to protests and more like, I guess, radical actions. So I didn't really feel part of a supported network, unfortunately. And I think ultimately that's kind of what led me to not have a job in the most radical spaces that I was part of, because I always played it safe. But there is real dangers in involving yourself in radical spaces if you're not white. So I heavily resonated with, like, if you're not from a privileged background or white background, then you can choose to be involved or not be involved, but you can still be part of the movement. You can be part of the efforts in some way. Hopefully that made sense. I don't want to take anything away from environmental justice spaces or like the groups I was involved. It's just I was often looked over because I didn't take a lot of risks, even though those risks were more risky for me than they were for them. So I don't know if that made sense, but I'm gonna continue on. But moving forward, I also saw that the United Parcel Services is actually going to lay off about 20,000 of its workers, which is very unfortunate. I feel like we're coming into a world where less and less workers are being respected and hired. Like, AI is taking over a lot of things, but the job market and the economy is just like trash right now. But yeah, UPS is laying off 20,000 workers this year despite beating first quarter profit estimates, as the shipping giant expects a decline in deliveries after cutting its shipments for Amazon in half earlier this year. And UPS expects to save about $3.5 billion in 2025 after cutting jobs and closing 73 leased and owned buildings by the end of June. So let's see if we can find a news bit on this for further clarification. Also, I want to say, if you don't understand my perspective or you don't understand the fears or the risks I wasn't willing to take, that's totally okay. Like, if you have a different opinion than what I'm saying, I would like to know, like, if you want to comment in the chat or want to like ask questions, or like if something didn't make sense, just let me know. Even if you're watching the recorded version, like, I would like to have constructive conversations, because my perspective is my perspective, and I often like dictate my opinions from like how I felt, and sometimes that's like not the most data driven thing. So like, if you have stats, if you have facts, if you have like more background on something I'm talking about, let me know. It's just I'm not perfect and I'm not the expert here. I'm just talking from my lived experiences and my personal research that may be missing some facts, some more reasoning, some more logic.
I don't really like committing to things.
I don't like commercials. These commercials need to stop. Come on, let's do this. Come on.
Turn to UPS announcing layoffs for 20,000 workers and the closing of some facilities. Rebecca Jarvis is back with the big picture. Good morning again, Rebecca.
Yeah, nice to see you, Michael. And these are big job cuts coming to UPS. The company announcing that they will lay off those 20,000 workers and close a number of facilities as it dramatically reduces shipments of Amazon packages, something that's been in the works for quite some time. Like so many companies recently, though, UPS also saying it won't be able to forecast future guidance given the current macroeconomic uncertainty with tariffs. Railroad companies, trucking, airline, and shipping companies have all felt significant slowdowns recently, with U.S. companies effectively sitting on their hands waiting to see how long and how impactful President Trump's tariffs will be on their businesses. Shippers experienced this surge in traffic early in the year as U.S. businesses raced to get ahead of the tariffs and stockpile merchandise and supplies. And now we have this ongoing uncertainty. The more of it that we see, the longer it lasts, the more concerned economists are that it will lead to further job cuts at all sorts of companies, Robin.
Okay, and we're going to have more from you in just a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, Rebecca, thanks.
The Port of Los Angeles says it does expect shipping volume from China to plunge about 35% next week. The president addressing this just a short time ago.
Now we're going
Let's not press on that one. Was that Fox News? I do not like Fox News. Let's not watch Fox News. No, nope, nope, nope.
UPS announced Tuesday it would lay off 20,000 workers this year, despite beating first quarter profit estimates, as the shipping giant expects a decline in deliveries after cutting its shipments for Amazon in half earlier this year. In its first quarter earnings report, UPS announced it expects to save $3.5 billion in 2025 after cutting 20,000 jobs and closing 73 leased and owned buildings by the end of June. The layoffs and building closures follow what UPS said is, quote, anticipation of lower volumes from our largest customer, meaning Amazon, which UPS announced in January would have its shipping volume with the company cut in half by 2026. At the time, UPS projected a decline in revenue for 2025 as CEO Carol Tomé said it was, quote, time to step back for a moment and reassess our relationship with Amazon. According to UPS, Amazon shipments accounted for 11.8% of the company's overall revenue in 2024. UPS reported first quarter revenue of $21.5 billion, beating analyst expectations by approximately $500 million, according to FactSet. Still, the shipping giant pulled its full-year guidance, despite earlier forecasting revenue of $89 billion for its current fiscal year, citing the, quote, current macroeconomic uncertainty. Tomé said in the company's 2024 fourth quarter earnings call, quote, the company's decision to reduce shipment volume from Amazon will allow UPS to expand its profit margins. Amazon is our largest customer, but it's not our most profitable customer. For more on this subject, read Ty Rush's article on Forbes.com.
Damn. I don't know what's happening with all these companies. They're making so much money, and yet they're going to fire people because they're thinking about how they relate to Amazon. I think it's just a bunch of bullshit. Like, what the hell is happening? Like, give us the truth. Honestly, like, they're just cutting costs. That's just all it sounds like. And they just want to make more money. So honestly, what I see happening is they're going to overwork the workers that they don't fire. And they're already, like, pressured to ship and, like, handle all these packages at an unrealistic pace. I was watching some, like, videos, and they have, like, a whole truck full, and they have to do it within a certain hour. And then it's just after an 8-hour shift, they still have all these other packages. It's just crazy how much they're overworked. Like, I don't think this is because, oh, we're thinking about how we relate with Amazon. No, this is just to, like, make more money with less workers. That's really what I feel like is happening. There's maybe no proof behind my words, but, like, look at the patterns of, like, corporations. They just want more money and less costs associated with it. And workers, they cost money. They cost too much money. Oh my god. Working conditions. What the heck is happening with these fucking corporations? Let's look at this. Interesting.
Those were the chants this morning from unionized UPS workers in South Portland, gathering for what they call a job action.
The president of the union, Brett Miller, says workers gathered right before work today in an effort to bring back one of their colleagues who had been fired. After accomplishing that, Miller shared that the union and UPS are negotiating over their contracts right now. Now, some of the things these UPS workers say they're looking for include more equality between full-time and part-time workers, consistency with their lunch hour, and addressing a 6-day work week, which some say they did not sign up for.
The members that were out here today are tired of working 6 days a week 55, 50, 60 hours a week for an extended period of time. Some of them have been working 6 days a week. It's not what the contract was intended for. It's been manipulated by the company to enhance their work force. They need to hire more people. There's no doubt about it. They need to hire more people. They need to have more of a balance for their workers.
Well, today we asked UPS about those claims and where their negotiation stands. A spokesperson tells us their contract from 2018 calls for working a sixth day when it's needed. However, they say no one could have anticipated the change in demand for deliveries on Saturdays and overall since the pandemic. According to their negotiations website, which we were directed to by the company and the union are making progress on non-economic items, and they say those conversations will continue in the coming weeks.
Very interesting. That was a video from last year. This was published in May 17th, 2023. So that was a year old. But they have been going on strikes.
More than 340,000.
This one was also from last year, July of 2023, or 2 years ago now. Oh, I just feel for those that have been fired or will be fired. Oh my God, these workers are just being overworked and have no stable lunch times. Like, and they're working 6 days a week. This shit is crazy.
UPS workers are preparing for a potentially historic strike.
Experts say a walkout of that magnitude could have supply chain implications and cost the U.S.
My face is in the way.
Billions of dollars. KTLA's Annie Rose Ramos live in LA's Westlake district with more on that. Annie Rose, good morning.
Frank and Jessica, good morning to you both. A rally going to get started here outside of the Olympic warehouse of UPS. You can see right there the entrance. We're expecting employees to begin walking out in the coming moments. One of them who just walked out, I want to bring in Jenny. You work inside this warehouse. Tell us a little bit more about what this strike means for you today as we walk, because we know that people are going to start gathering around the corner. So tell us first a little bit more about why you're out here.
Yeah, so we're in negotiations right now, and the last point of negotiations is part-time pay. So I'm a part-timer, and our biggest demand for this contract was to get a big raise because we've been underpaid for a long time as part-timers. So we're out here. The company has said they don't have any more money for us, so we're out here rallying basically to get support and show unity in that we are ready to strike if UPS forces us to, which is looking like it's the case because they have not given us a better offer than what they last presented.
Now, I want to go straight to a statement from UPS that we have here because they say that your union, the Teamsters representing all of your workers, have walked away from the negotiating table. Take a look at this statement right here that we have from the UPS. The UPS saying, in part, quote, the Teamsters, which is the union representing the workers, have stopped negotiating despite historic proposals that build on our industry-leading pay. We have not walked away, and the union has a responsibility to remain at the table, quote, end quote. Meanwhile, the Teamsters say UPS were the ones who walked away from the table, not them. Now back here live, we want to go to this street just outside of the warehouse. This is where they're going to be gearing up in order to do this rally. We also know that SAG-AFTRA and WGA also going to be joining us here. It officially gets started in the next couple of minutes. As you can see, everybody.
Okay, so that was in 2023, and then I recently found a video from 4 months ago where they're also gearing up to do more strikes. So this is one from Southern California that they're getting ready for.
I believe that we are making history.
Making history, who wouldn't want to be a part of that?
Us being strike ready means we're fed up and Amazon is clearly ignoring us and we want to be heard.
This is really exciting. You know, we're taking steps for ourselves to win better conditions, to win better benefits, better wages.
I hope it just go ahead and touches every other place and everybody joins in at once.
You know, if you work union, you live better.
We're in a different place now because of the Teamsters. You know, that's why I want to fight to become union.
And we're ready to take the fight to Amazon. The fight is on.
my God, I feel for them so much. Like, honestly, these are their real lives. Like, they're struggling to survive and they have such horrific conditions. And it's just hard to ensure anything nowadays, especially when we have unions be criminalized. Like, if you're part of a union, you're most likely going to be fired. At least that's what Starbucks has been doing, and it's notorious to happen everywhere. Like, if you even say that you're a union leader within a workspace, oh my God, you really expect to keep your job? It's so unfortunate. Like, I wish it wasn't true, but like, corporations do not want to see fair worker rights. I wonder when the last time they actually like cared about us. Like, when was the last time these workers actually were looked out for? I do wonder when these corporations cared about humans. I don't think it's ever happened. It's actually very interesting. I have a personal story and I'm going to jump off. My computer's dying and I'm actually really hungry and I don't even know what I'm saying half the time anymore. I'm just kind of mumbling. I don't know if you guys have noticed. My thoughts are not really there anymore. It's been a full day. I've been working since like 9 in the morning and it's going to be about 6 o'clock my time. But I really do hope that there is more worker rights, more protections for the marginalized communities that are serving us and they're really giving us our things on an everyday basis. The Met Gala, in summary, is a bunch of shit. I feel like we need to boycott these massive corporations if we're ever going to see change in markets, whether it's in fashion or agriculture or whatever. Like, we do need to support locals. We need to support small businesses. We need to do what we can where we can, even if it's imperfect, and just kind of keep at it, even though everything just kind of feels so big and too complex to do anything about it. I've always said that I'm going to do what I can, and hopefully things get better. Right now, I am on a pause on activism just because I'm focusing on my financial well-being. I've been an organizer for the past 7 years and I didn't really make money from it. I didn't do it because there was huge rewards. To actually change something takes a lot of commitment from a lot of people on a volunteer basis. To win one small thing takes like maybe 3 years. To see one small thing change, it takes years and years and years of commitment and dedication. I will be getting back into activism once I have a bit more of a savings account or savings in general to move forward with. I don't, to be fully transparent, I only had $200 in March. $200 in March was all I had. And I was fortunate that I had a lot of people supporting me and helping me throughout that time. And now I've been working for about 60 hours and have a couple of jobs now, which I'm really fortunate. But once I'm more stable, once I have more savings, once I have a stable life, I will be going into activism because you can't fill other people's cups unless yours is full. But hopefully these live streams resonate with anyone. Hopefully it inspires you to take action. And to do what you can with what you have. Like, I mostly live stream because it's what I have the time and the capacity to do right now while I work, while I do all these other projects. So hopefully we don't fall into pessimism. We can always do something. Things will always get better. That's just my mentality. I'm a hopeless optimist. Even if it's not rooted in reality, I think things will get better. And it's really unfortunate what UPS is doing with these 20,000 workers, but it just shows corporations' greed, but it doesn't show the collective humanity that are alive. Like, not all of us are greedy. Not all of us want to take away rights, like we are often just stuck under corporations that just do not give a fuck about us. And we have to push back. We have to do something, whether we're directly or indirectly impacted by it. Hopefully this live stream was productive. I did feel like it was a bit of a tangent on my part. There was a lot of tech issues, but I will be working on the Wi-Fi. I will be working on getting a better camera. This one's a bit blurry. Also, I haven't really eaten all day, so I probably should eat before I jump on live streams. But yeah, hopefully you have a good Tuesday, and I'll see you Friday at 9 in the morning. And if you want to watch the recorded versions, those will be recorded, so you can watch them whenever. There's a lot more news that I was supposed to cover, but my laptop is on 3%, so I do have to go, and I do have to go eat dinner. But stay safe out there. There's a lot of odds against the common person, but I think things will get better. So go out there and do something. Choose something and do it. But yeah, stay safe out there. Bye guys, take care. Bye.